Great good morning, everyone. It is 9:11 a.m. here on my Cordaro Jewelers watch on a beautiful Tuesday, October 7, 2025. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he. Broadcasting today from the United States of America, the place where the brave have made us and kept us free. Our Veterans Tribute brought to you by John Basiliga and his great companies, including Serenity Care, the gold standard of senior care in Northeast Pennsylvania. The United States of America, founded with a certain knowledge and understanding by our incredible, amazing, irreplaceable founding fathers, that government is not, shall not be, cannot be our parent, our guide, our direction, our salvation, not any of these things, but is nothing more than a necessary evil we require to organize and protect society. The United States of America, the country where for the first time in human history, freedom was declared to be an unalienable right. That means they can't take it away from you. And it's granted to each individual by God. Freedom couldn't be parceled out to groups. It couldn't be controlled by government or government officials. It was ours. And our great American Constitution ensured it and codified it, including freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of association, economic freedom, and freedom of the press. Doesn't matter what they do with it. They're free. They're armed with these freedoms, and only because they had them. A ragtag bunch of immigrants, rejects, and their progeny created the richest, most powerful, most culturally diverse and accepting nation ever to grace our planet Earth. America, the only place specifically invented and designed so that every American can live their life in the manner they choose, unlimited by their background, upbringing, race, color, or creed, unhindered by the government or those who would use government to control others for their own comfort, benefit, or power. This Bob Cordaro Show, well, it'll always be convincingly conservative, lovingly logical, proudly and passionately patriotic, and reliably right. And so, we gavel to order this meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising you that since we have a sincere, deep, and unwavering commitment to common sense, that we will provide a sanctuary of sanity for all of you in a world where our ruling elites and an entire political party, the Democrats, has gone insane. Quite amazing. So much to talk about, as usual. A very somber note. This is the 2-year anniversary of the Hamas massacre in Israel. They haven't returned the hostages yet. And there are groups. This is the insanity. This is the insanity we need the sanctuary of sanity for. There are groups planning to protest against Israel on this anniversary. Now, you're either, if you do this, if that's what you do today, you are either insane, incredibly stupid, evil, or all of the above. There's nothing good that can be said about you. I heard about that, and I just became astonished. I said, no, this is the day they're going to choose. Really. A couple other things that have come across the radar. Jack Smith, you remember him? The insanely corrupt prosecutor, government prosecutor, overturned, scolded constantly because has zero ethics. He was the Trump January 6th prosecutor. I think he was the documents prosecutor also. against Trump. Well, it turns out that in his January 6th investigation, Jack Smith was tracking the phone usage of 13 Republican senators. No Democrats, by the way. So it wasn't about were they safe, were they this. No, this was about a political hit job. He's a disgrace. Just imagine this. And by the way, I'm happy it's that many because I think everybody else will get it. What evil, what disgrace this Jack Smith and his special counsel position were. Jay Jones, running for Attorney General in Virginia, the Commonwealth of Virginia. Now, that's where we could get an awful governor again. Winsome Sears, who I love, the current lieutenant governor, is running for, and this may actually impact the race. Now, I said this to you yesterday. Hey, you guys know the old joke. Name your evil people. If you had Hitler, Stalin, and name the guy. And he named this I guess he was current or former Speaker of the House in Virginia, Republican. And you had 2 bullets, 3 of them. 2 bullets in the Speaker. Okay. That's a joke. We can't get crazy about that. But here's what the sick bastard did worse. It got worse, if you could believe it. That's a joke. Okay, you get caught in that kind of joke, and then somebody says, I didn't mean it. I was kidding. Well, he then brings in the children of the former Speaker of the House in Virginia. This Jay Jones does. Essentially suggesting that they be killed because they were going to become fascists. And that it would teach a lesson to the mother and the father. Like, this guy is sick. You don't apologize your way out of something that sick. The joke part, I've heard it before. It can be funny if you know how to deliver a joke. I don't know if this guy does. I think he's too mentally ill to do it. That's Jay Jones for AG in Virginia, and it may overturn the whole race because this gubernatorial candidate is afraid, Spangenberg, I guess her name is, she's afraid to condemn him or ask him to get out of the race. Now, Antifa, our fourth to follow, and Brandon Johnson and J.B. Pritzker. And Brandon Johnson saying they're looking to start a second civil war. These people, I'm telling you, and I want you to watch them. The main politicians and spokesmen for the Democrat Party are mentally ill. And I've been saying that, and some of you probably, that's just too hard. Please listen to what they say. Please listen to the positions they take. Now, this is the same disgusting fool, along with that pig Pritzker, who don't care if 40 people are shot every weekend in Chicago. They don't care. Unbelievable. These are sick, sick people. We're past the point. We are past the point where we could talk about them in any other vein. And then the government shutdown continues, day 7. Chuck Schumer. These people, they're mentally ill. They forget what they said. They forget what they proclaimed as principled positions. You never shut the government down simply for policy reasons and policy negotiate. This is insane. And I'm flying on Friday, and I'm like, I'm gonna have Cutie and I are gonna have air traffic controllers who aren't being paid. That's not good. Somebody says, I love the theme music to Police Academy that you play as you read your propaganda. Oh, one of the trolls. No, it's from the movie Patton. I don't know if it's from Police Academy. But either way, it probably bothers you, so that's a good thing. I don't know. Somebody says the good news is the people on the side of logic that are still Democrat holdouts are seeing the light more and more every day. I hope you are right. I don't want to think that, like, I'm unfortunately content. I should say resigned is a better word. I'm resigned to feel disgust when I think about Democrat leaders. And I don't want to think that about my fellow Americans, but there's people that are just not normal. And I don't know why they're thinking like sick, insane people, but they're going along with this. And this shouldn't be 80-20 issues. This should be 99-1, and that 1% should be institutionalized. But I hope you're right that the normal Democrats are paying enough attention. And always remember that, by the way. Always remember that. There's a lot of people just not paying attention. They're living their lives. Maybe their lives are difficult. Maybe their lives are nice. Maybe whatever. But they're not paying attention to politics. So you've got to put that into the mix. In addition to people who are getting something out of being insane. Yeah, and there are plenty. With governments on all levels throwing around money like it's candy. So, in any event, somebody says, Bob, calling these people mentally ill is a disservice. It sort of cheapens just how evil they are. And make no mistake, these people have no lighting their heart, and they live in darkness. By the way, speaking of goodness, somebody at the St. Joe's tournament for my nephew Anthony gave me a Charlie Lives t-shirt, and it's got 47 on the back. So I'm wearing my, if you're available to look on the computer, I got my Charlie Lives red t-shirt. I don't like red in particular, but what are you going to do? I like crimson. I'm a Dunmore Buck. In any event, I've got my Charlie Lives t-shirt on. Let's take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. We'll be back. Yeah, that's Elvis. You got to remember, this is music history, and on this date, 1957, we're not pushing the holiday. I don't do anything about the holiday or even think about it till after Thanksgiving. I can't stand when they start early, but Murph tells us. RCA Victor Records announced that they had received 500,000 advance orders for Elvis Presley's Christmas album. Murph picked Blue Christmas from that album. Fascinating. Let's go to Ed from Dallas. Ed, how are you?
Hey, how you doing, Bob?
Good.
The reason I'm calling, my dad passed away. He's a Korean War veteran. I did get your email to send the information in.
I'm so sorry to hear that. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I mean, the guy raised 5 kids, 91 years old. His picture is on the corner of Wyoming Avenue and 8th Street in Wyoming there. We have a banner for him.
Nice.
But anyway, we had the funeral yesterday, and the military was supposed to be there, the Navy. And they never showed. And you know, we talked to the funeral director. He said they did contact him. He was going to find out what was going on. And my son-in-law said, hey, maybe it's because of the government shutdown. And I don't know if that's true or not, but I'd like to find out about it.
Yeah, I mean, most of the guys, although the people who coordinate it might not be getting paid, might not be on duty,
Right.
but most of the guys who form the honor guard are former military.
Yeah, they're volunteers
Yeah,
usually.
they volunteer. Yeah. So I don't know if one would have anything to do with the other, but that's just, and it's sad they weren't there, because I think that brings so much to a veteran's funeral to have them there. It's important.
I mean, that's where he married my mother. He was in the military and everything. It was a big deal for him. He was really proud of his military
It does
service,
not diminish, though. It doesn't diminish what he did.
No.
That's the important thing.
Doesn't.
And that's so all the more important we do a veterans tribute for him now.
Right. Well, I'll get that into you, and I appreciate that, Bob.
All right, my friend. And our prayers are with you and your family. It's 91, but you want more, right?
That's right. Thank you very much,
Amen.
Bob.
Thanks, Ed.
Yep.
All right, we'll take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. We're going to come back with our Veterans Tribute for the hour. But we want to hear from our great sponsors, and we got a lot to cover today. We'll be back. our Veterans Tribute this hour and every hour, this day and every day. Brought to you by a true patriot, loyal American, John Basiliga, and all of his great companies. But today we feature Serenity Care, the personal care community. 4 locations, Mid-Valley, Old Forge, Wyoming, Kingston. Dementia care units at Mid-Valley and Kingston locations. All 4 have been completely renovated and are accepting new residents. It is the gold standard for senior care in Northeast PA. George Farrow, West Scranton. He passed away at age 80, September 30th. He was born in Scranton, graduate of West Scranton High School, where he excelled on the football team and had the opportunity to play in the NFL with the Washington Redskins. A motorcycle accident ended his playing career. But after his time in the NFL, he became involved with the West Scranton Invader football team as a special team assistant, excelling in teaching the art of place kicking and field goal kicking for the Invaders. He was an Army veteran who served us in Germany as a paratrooper in the 2nd Battalion, 39th Artillery Unit, member of the former St. Michael's Roman Catholic Church on Jackson Street. He retired as head of security for Simplex Homes, that great company on Kaiser Avenue. He delivered pies for another great company, Minio Pie, the bakery. He loved food. And like Tony Soprano, his family says, he liked lunch meats. George lived his life fast, hard, and plenty. Survived by his son, best friend, and caregiver, Kyle, sister, and other family members. George Farrell. Katerina Kalinowski. She was 101 years old when we lost her September 29th. She was from Nanticoke. Her husband was Alexander Kalinowski. They shared 61 wonderful years together. Katerina lost Alexander in 2013. She was born in Old Forge. Maiden name, Alois Antonio. That's a great name. Raised in West Nanticoke, graduate of Harder High School, class of 41. She became a registered nurse at Bayonne Hospital School of Nursing, Bayonne, New Jersey, graduating in 1944. She then served as a cadet nurse during World War II and later was employed as an RN by the Nanticoke State Hospital until retirement. Oh, the things a 101-year-old woman would see. Katerina and Alexander resided in Nanticoke, but also they were snowbirds in Cocoa Beach and Cocoa, Florida. They loved big band and polka music. Katerina was a member of St. Faustina Kowalska Parish, Nanticoke, previously St. Francis of Assisi Parish. Active with the Nanticoke State Hospital Auxiliary and the Red Hat Society. She was survived by her daughter, Donna Kalinowski, still with us, thank God. Katerina Kalinowski, our great veterans this hour, brought to you by John Basiliga and Serenity Care. Storm Tracker 16 forecast from meteorologist Joe Snedeker. Today, partly cloudy, chance of a shower by evening, but it will get up to 75, 65 outside the studios as I speak. Tonight, cloudy with showers likely 55. Wednesday, partly sunny, breezy, cooler, 65. Thursday, sunny and cool, 58. That's Jackie Wilson. Murph says, number one R&B hit this date, 1967. Your love keeps lifting me higher. Bob Cordaro back. You hear Brandon Johnson, the mayor of Chicago. He's mentally ill. He's really sick. I mean, you just even listen to him. Now he's concerned about farmers? Yeah, I know there's big acreage in Chicago, especially on the south side. But what is the matter with these people? And by the way, what's the matter with the people electing them? Because of a party label or because of a skin color? What are you doing to yourselves? Shame on you, too. He probably can't even help himself from being mentally ill. Whew. By the way, I adjusted the camera so you can see that it says Charlie Lives if I back up on my shirt. Here at the station, you go in the bathroom and you have this like fluorescent lights, so it's very bright. And you go in there and you're washing your hands. I always notice something. Either my eyebrows are going crazy or a nose hair or something. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I don't have a scissors or the time to groom myself. But I see more in this mirror than any mirror I have. And it's disturbing, believe me. Oh, let's go to the blower. We got Jake from Scranton. Jake, how are you?
Good, Bob. How are you?
Great.
You know, I wanted to just mention that the fellow whose dad just passed away,
Ed from Dallas.
They didn't have the military honor guard there.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, my experience, because my father had we did the same thing, and a cousin of mine recently, the funeral director is supposed to set that up. And actually, the funeral director, as long as you can give them papers of his honorable discharge, there is a graves detail that comes out of Fort Meade, Maryland, that will come up and do the whole flag ceremony for you. With my father, they sent up 2 sergeants and a lieutenant. And, they were there. They did a phenomenal job.
Yeah, and it really does add to the ceremony. It really brings a lot of gravitas to the ceremony.
Yes, it does.
You know?
And the local guys, the VFW guys, do a phenomenal job with the rifle ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but that's all up to the funeral director. That poor guy, his funeral director, it doesn't sound like took care of him.
Yeah, they meant either way. Yeah, but
yeah.
Sad. Well, that's what we're here for. We'll do a veterans tribute separately, and don't you forget to get information to me also.
Oh yeah. I keep forgetting about that because my dad and his 2 brothers were in the service during the Second World War. I just never remember to call in.
We just had a great family from, but you got to email me with the information and hopefully with their obituaries. It's Robert Cordaro, Cordaro,
okay,
at Odyssey, AUDACY.com. Because we just did a great one for a family down in West Pittston. Both sides, the mother's side and the father's side, it was great.
Well, I'll tell you, my wife's father was one of 11 children. And during World War II, there were 6 brothers who were all in the service.
Wow.
At the same time. They all came back, too.
If you get information on that, I would love to do that.
I can supply it because they were in actually in the Scranton Times. The 6 brothers were in, and they were all over the world.
Neat.
One was in Burma, one was in the Pacific, the other one was in France and Germany. And at some point, their mother always had a notice of one of them was missing in action.
Oh, gosh.
They just couldn't keep up with them. I will get you that stuff. It's
I would appreciate that, story. Jake, very much.
Sure.
I'd appreciate it. It'd be my honor.
Okay, Bob.
All right?
Thank you.
And thanks for the info.
See ya.
All right, we got to take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. It's your funeral director where it all starts. those of you who have family that are veterans that you lose, and they generally get it done. We'll take a break and be back. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. Three Dog Night, Murph says. Number one easy listening charts hit. Black and White, this date, 1972. And if you think that the evil that's at the heart of Islamism is brand new, no, it goes back to time immemorial. And here's another example from 1985. You remember they shot and killed the Jewish American tourist in a wheelchair? Leon Klinghoffer threw him overboard. Remember that? These are savages. These are not normal people. These are not people. We could reason with them. We could deal. No. There are very little option other than to kill them. And they give you very little option. And it brings me back to that stupid Chicago mayor. That they want a rematch, I guess talking about us, Trump. A rematch of the Civil War. Okay. Does he know that it was his political party that kept the slaves? So you want a rematch with yourself? Basically, the breathtaking stupidity and ignorance of this mental midget and so many others that lead the Democrat Party, but it just blows you away. It blows you away. He's the mayor of a major American city. A beautiful city. Great people. And he'd rather them get killed than get help from Donald Trump. He'd rather murders, rapes, robberies, carjackings. And then has this just, I can't, I'm trying to use a civil word. I'll use the same word then, just breathtaking ignorance. He's breathtakingly stupid. He and Pritzker, talk about, let me say this. There are too many good people in Chicago and Illinois to have leadership this stupid, this evil, this egotistical. Unbelievable. Rich McHale wants to know my take on Fetterman's positions. No, I don't think he'll be a future Republican. Remember, he came in as a Marxist. And also, Rich, remember, his votes except to keep the government open, which, by the way, was a Democrat budget and Democrat budget levels, the continuing resolution. And I think he voted for Pam Bondi for Attorney General. Other than that, he's been reliably left. And he's saying normal things, to his credit. But no, I don't see him switching to Republican. I'd be stunned. Somebody asking if the six brothers in the military, I can't give you his name. I apologize. First of all, I only have Ed from Dallas anyway. But the second part is, I could never do that. I just can't do it. I can't be in charge of connecting people because I don't know, you don't know who's on either side of the transaction. By the way, speaking of Thursday night, I'm going to be the MC for the Lackawanna County Republican dinner. Bob Pettinato being honored, my old friend. And I'd say mentor. And so Bob Pettinato honored Thursday night at Glen Mara. You could get in touch with the Lackawanna County Republican Committee to attend. It's going to be fun. It's going to be funny. That I can say. And I'm not doing one whit of preparation. Not 1 second. I'm winging it. That's it. And I'm going away the next day. In any event. All right, we'll take a break because as I look at my Cordaro Jewelers watch, and remember, this is the watch store. Spruce Street and Jefferson Avenue, Scranton, catty corner from the Radisson. Raymond Weil, Breitling, Oris, Longines, Michelle, Shinola, Luminox, Swiss Army, Seiko, Tory Burch, Victorinox, Bulova. And I've got a Cordaro Jewelers watch. It says Bacardo's up top. That's the one I insist on, by the way. And it's the place to go. If you want to watch, and by the way, it is first and foremost a jewelry store. So we do the whole package at Bacardo's. They're a great family, third generation, and getting better. Amazing. We'll take a break and be back after the news with Brian Hughes. Everyone, great good morning, everyone. My Bacardo Jewelers watch tells me it is 10:07 and change here in the great Northeast this beautiful Tuesday, October 7, 2025. This is the Bob Cordaro Show, and I am he, wearing a shirt given to me on Saturday that says Charlie Lives. It's a big day to fight for America, defend our values. And with the help of our man, John Basiliga, and his great companies like Serenity Care, to honor the brave who have made us and kept us free. People like Katerina Kalinowski of Nanacoke, George Farrow of West Scranton, Tyrone Terry Gabriel Gayeski, Makanakwa, Steve Kondratik, Exeter, and Clarence Dick Scholdice, Freeland. So with history, our great founding fathers, and the incomparable Constitution of the United States of America as our guides, let us continue today's battle, gaveling back to order this meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising you that because of our commitment to common sense, we will provide a sanctuary of sanity for all in a world that's gone insane, and a political party that's entire leadership is just full of lunacy. And then we've got an establishment and global leadership that has they're our enemies. Nothing more you can say about that. So, our friend Mark from Hazelton texted in. It is Desmond Tutu's birthday. We lost him in 2021. You remember him? I met him. He spoke at my college graduation at the University of Rochester. And he said, if you are neutral in situations of injustice, you have chosen the side of the oppressor. If an elephant has its foot on the tail of a mouse and you say that you are neutral, the mouse will not appreciate your neutrality. Desmond Tutu, thank you. Thank you for that very much. So, yeah, so much going on here. And I just get, you actually can get overwhelmed by the stupidity. You really can. When you're dealing with people as ridiculous and dumb, but as we have in Illinois, just one example. I mean, I could go through the entire Democrat roster nationwide. AOC, Elizabeth Warren, Cory Booker, Gavin Newsom. These are scary, stupid people. And they're dangerous. They're in positions of power. It doesn't matter how mentally ill they are, they're in positions of power. Mother Teresa, St. Teresa for today, October 7th. She says, when you look at the inner workings of electrical things, you often see small and big wires, new and old, cheap and expensive, all lined up. Until the current passes through them, there will be no light. That wire is you and me. The current is God. We have the power to let the current pass through us, use us, produce the light of the world. Or we can refuse to be used and allow darkness to spread. Mother Teresa, St. Teresa, always great. Feast day of Our Lady of the Rosary, Mary Regina points out. That's for you Catholics out there, including myself. My man Dom said he was both, and I don't know what it referenced. I apologize. He texted me. So I had to be calling somebody stupid and evil. Maybe at the beginning of the program, and sad to say, it's true. I mean, my word. All right. We're going to do a little early. We're going to take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK, We'll return, and we've got a lot, man, just so much to do today. It is a lot to do. And on this October 7th, the second anniversary of the slaughter in Israel by the evil that is Hamas. We'll be back. had to wait till then. Murph tells us this date, 1972, the Raspberries moved up to number 5 with their hit Go All the Way. Bob Cordaro back with you. And, of course, Fox News. The channel made its debut this date, 1996, and saved us. Although maybe it drove the other channels to become lunatics, but it's hard to tell. But I will say this. Right now, no matter what the other networks and cable channels decided to do, thank God for Fox. Especially when I look at my job, which is to know and try to understand all the news. And you can't get it anywhere else. They just don't cover stories that they don't want to cover, that don't meet their agenda, unless it's forced on them. So thank God for Fox. Tim Narazi. He is the foreign affairs correspondent at the Washington Examiner. And he's been reviewing this 20-point peace plan of President Trump's. And he's with us now to talk about all of that. Timothy, welcome to the Bob Cordaro Show. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great, and thanks for coming on. Make some sense for us of all of this. The 20-point plan, some of the points seem, okay, I get it. Is there anything in there other than taking away the power of Hamas that should be a stumbling block? A number of countries have stepped up and said, we're all in on this.
Well, the kind of breakthrough nature of this peace plan is that, like any sort of good negotiation, neither party walks away entirely happy. Trump, really seized this opportunity following the bombing of Qatar to put the needles to Netanyahu and at the same time use Israel's supremacy militarily over Hamas to bring both to the negotiating table, willing to lose something in what they want. Mm-hmm. So the general idea is that Hamas must agree to disarm, lay down their weapons, and remove themselves from any semblance of leadership within Gaza at all in perpetuity. By doing that, according to this peace plan, Israel would then pull their military out of Gaza, and a international sort of joint technocratic body would take over governance in the short term as long-term governance is established, whether through the Palestinian Authority or through any other sort of more legitimate government. There are obviously, to get this done, all hostages would have to be immediately released, both dead and alive. One of the big things that Trump is saying right here is that, look, Hamas, if you still are alive, because most of you have been killed, if you're still alive, Hamas combatant, this is your one off ramp where we will let you walk away without being killed. You're definitely not going to be able to remain in Gaza. You're going to have to go, into exile somewhere, but maybe Iran, who knows? But you will not be hunted down and killed if you just accept this deal, release the hostages, and get out. Obviously, that goes against Netanyahu's wishes. Netanyahu, from the very beginning, has said he wants to fully and totally eradicate every member of Hamas. But Netanyahu kind of compromised his own position when he bombed Qatar without Trump's approval. That sort of upset the entire geopolitical sphere in the region, and Trump saw that as his chance to have leverage over both parties and try to bring them together.
And Qatar, just for everybody else, no matter how you pronounce it, has been, would you call them, as you review it, an honest broker in all of this? They're certainly the only broker.
Well, they're certainly the only broker. Egypt has lent a hand. Egypt and Qatar have been the two countries that have been most effective at negotiating with Hamas. And it's hard to say what an honest broker is, so to speak, but I'll say that they have a vested interest. Let's put it this way. They have a vested interest in in this getting done, both Egypt and Qatar. So I would say that in that sense, they are honest. They want this over. They want this done. And, obviously the backroom talks and discussions are a little vague. You get different reports from different parties, different officials leaking different information. But from what we in the press understand, Qatar and Egypt have basically turned to Hamas and said, look, this is as good as it's going to get. This is your last chance. And if they're telling Hamas that, then I think that shows Trump has really kind of put the screws to everyone, and there doesn't seem to be a lot of room to wiggle on this.
Tim Narazi is our guest. He's the foreign affairs correspondent at the Washington Examiner, talking about the Trump 20-point peace plan, which is under consideration. How many of the points can be dismissed or not accepted by the parties, and we still can move ahead?
So negotiations are ongoing in Egypt. They're in their second day. And if there's negotiations, that means that there is some, negotiating, right? Mm-hmm. But Trump from the very beginning has characterized this as largely a take it or leave it final proposal. So I know that in the past when he's been he first ran this by several mediators. He ran this by Israel, and Israel tried to really sort of chop and screw it, tried to get it more in line with what they want, and Trump allowed a few minor tweaks. We're talking about language. We're talking about just making sure that the terms are either specific or vague enough to everyone's liking. I know that the term Palestinian state was really scrutinized by the Israeli party. So there is room, I guess, for making sure that everyone is comfortable with the language. But in terms of the skeleton of the plan, that is, Hamas lays down arms, retreats out of Gaza, gives up any claim to future governance or military presence, Israel pulls out, and then international body takes over. The core of it is non-negotiable.
Tim Narazi is our guest, foreign affairs correspondent at the Washington Examiner. What, from your reading, and what are people around the issue saying are the hopes, and maybe if you could reduce it to percentage terms, of success and acceptance of this peace plan, or any peace plan by all parties?
Well, I think it's not any peace plan. It's this peace plan. Trump has said this is the final one. There's not going to be another, and he's basically given the green light. Again, he's playing these parties off of each other quite effectively, where he's basically he's both said, Israel needs to stop expansion, needs to give up its claims to trying to sort of colonize the West Bank, which was kind of a shock to a lot of people that thought that Trump was a diehard 100% Israel all the time sort of advocate. He's used that as leverage to get Israel to the table, saying, look, I'm not going to back every single thing that you do. But then he's also said to Hamas and to various Palestinian officials, look, if Hamas doesn't accept this deal, then it's open season. And he said something along the lines of all hell is going to be unleashed, basically saying, look, I don't want Israel to completely decimate this entire strip of land. I don't want Israel to completely snuff out this entire region and it's sort of its sovereignty. But you have to come to, if you don't want that to happen, like I don't want that to happen, you need to sit at the table. You need to basically understand what time it is. And I'm prepared to make this final offer. I'm prepared to hold Israel back on this right now. But if you're not willing to negotiate, if you're not willing to understand that you have almost no leverage anymore, then I wash my hands of the situation.
Tim Narazi, what's happening on the West Bank? I mean, that's a more substantial piece of real estate. It is affected by anything that happens in Gaza. And it's been relatively quiescent during this process. Where does that stand, if you know? I mean, how are they reacting?
The West Bank is the other major portion of the Palestinian territories, and it is largely more peaceful, a little less sort of overrun with militants than Gaza is. It's sort of seen as sort of where a Palestinian a sense of legitimate Palestinian authority can come out of, right? They have their own government. I mean, it's very complicated to get into, but it's not very effectual right now.
Yeah.
They're caught in a limbo of both Israeli sort of governance, but hypothetical autonomy. They've been recognized by the United Nations, but not by the United States, not by Israel, obviously. So it's very complicated. But the West Bank, the main issue right now is Israeli expansion into the West Bank. There's been a lot of settlements that have slowly crept into what had been considered Palestinian territory. Obviously, the people of the West Bank, the military of the West Bank, does not have the resources, the military, to push back on that, and they certainly don't want to, because if they cause too much of a fuss about it, then it's going to invite conflict with Israel, which will not turn out well for the West Bank. And they generally try to keep as peaceful as possible. So right now, it seems that Trump has basically put the kibosh on any idea of Israel annexing the West Bank, which his ministers were getting quite vocal about their intention of completely taking it over. He's put the kibosh on that and basically used that and used his intervention there as a negotiating chip with Gaza, basically saying, "Look, I'm stepping in here and I'm holding Israel back, but I can only do that if you guys are willing to help me out." So again, he's giving everyone a little bit of what they want and no one everything what they want, which is, I guess, how a good negotiation goes.
Yeah, I would think. But assuming we have logic on all sides. Tim Razi, so when the French, just for example, and other European countries say we are going to recognize a Palestinian state, do they even know what they're talking about? They understand that there is no Palestinian state. First of all, it's a misnomer to start with. But do they understand that there's two different places? How does that become one country?
Well, these territories have been divided up several times since the British Mandate of Palestine, which was the original territory owned by the British Empire that Israel kind of generated out of. And it's a very, very complicated situation from an international law perspective, because when Israel declared its existence, they did not set out boundaries for what the state of Israel is. They didn't say, we claim the land between blank and blank, and everything within that is Israel, and everything else is not Israel. So these borders have been very vague since the very beginning. A series of wars took place following Israelis' declaration of independence or declaration of sovereignty. And, various wars have claimed territory from Israel, claimed territory for Israel from Palestine. Jordan has been involved. Egypt has been involved. And so these borders have moved quite a bit. And the general idea is that when Israel declared their sovereignty in the British Mandate of Palestine, there was an expectation for there to be an Arab state as well. Basically, the original hope that never manifested was for an Arab state and a Jewish state to sort of split the territory and kind of live in peaceful coexistence. These series of wars have completely carved up the territory and now have non-contiguous existence alongside each other. So the question does become, these territories, which the United States does not recognize as sovereign, Israel isn't recognized as sovereign, but to be fair, many countries in the world do recognize a Palestinian state, right? Like they are at the United Nations. So it comes down to, what does it mean for these countries to recognize a Palestinian state? Are they willing to, some countries have ambassadors to Palestine. Others don't. Some of them share ambassadors between Israel and Palestine. It will ultimately come down to how far are the United Nations and various countries that recognize Palestinian statehood and Palestinian sovereignty, how far are they willing to go to advocate for and take action for the establishment and not just the establishment, but the protection and safeguarding of a Palestinian state.
And where that would be. Where will that be is a significant question that they're just glossing over.
I don't think it's being glossed over. I think the general idea is that Gaza, East Jerusalem, and West Bank are what have traditionally been identified as Palestinian territories, but the question is one of logistics. How do you govern something like that? And it is difficult. I think that ultimately what happens with the Gaza Strip, if this peace plan goes through, if Trump, and it's actually kind of a bizarre, this gets looked over in the press sometimes, but it's a very bizarre proposal where Trump and former British Prime Minister Tony Blair would be in charge of the Gaza Strip in this post-war arrangement before a proper authority can be established. I think in that very hypothetical future where the peace plan is accepted, it goes according to plan, Trump is sort of overseeing this Gaza Strip. What he chooses to do with it when he feels that it is prepared to kind of go into its long-term existence, what he chooses to do with it will determine, it's kind of crazy to imagine right now America just pivoting 180 degrees and recognizing a Palestinian state. But, I mean, this entire thing has been rather unprecedented. So who is really to say? I mean, we've gone from Trump saying, Israel can take it, to saying that he wants to establish a freedom zone, to now he wants to directly govern it. So the future of Palestine is very, very vague, and it's really going to come down to whether this peace plan gets accepted, what Trump governs it as, and then what eventually it would become in a post, a sort of long-term arrangement. Fascinating.
Well, you keep following it for us, Tim Narazi. We appreciate it. Tim Narazi, the foreign affairs correspondent at the Washington Examiner. We appreciate your time and keep in touch with us. We want to be updated on all of this.
Thank you so much. I'm actually an NEPA native. So
really? Where?
Yeah. I'm right across the border in Luzerne County, Dallas, PA.
All right. Well, that's
I grew up.
That's the core of our audience. So that's great stuff, Tim. So that means you've got to come on even more often.
Absolutely. Have me on whenever you like.
All right, my friend. Thank you. Tim Narazi, foreign affairs correspondent from Dallas, PA at the Washington Examiner. We'll be back. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. Our Veterans Tribute this hour and every hour, this day and every day. Brought to you by a true patriot, our friend John Basiliga. Featuring today just one of his great companies, Serenity Care, a personal care community with 4 locations: Mid-Valley, Old Forge, Wyoming, Kingston. Personal care services and dementia care services at their units in Mid-Valley and Kingston. Everything has been completely remodeled. The places are beautiful, spotless, and the standard for senior care in Northeast Pennsylvania. Serenity Care. Tyrone Terry Gabriel Gajewski. We lost him September 21st. He was 98. He was from Mackinac. His Polish mother and his father, they came with quite a name combination. He was named after Hollywood heartthrob Tyrone Power. His father, Adam, who was a professional boxer, including matches in Madison Square Garden, and a coal miner, named his son Terry after an Irish pugilist that he admired, Terrible Terry McGovern. The Roman Catholic priest who baptized him was not a fan of the name Tyrone, considering its Gaelic pagan history. And he asked for a Christian name, which was Gabriel, the archangel. He grew up at a time in anthracite-rich Northeast PA, and he was a breaker boy. His father, though, survived a mine cave-in, and Terry says, I got to get out of the coal region, and joined the Air Force at age 17. Military planes flew him around the world for 20 years. First to Shepherd's Grove, England, and later to Phu Quoc, Vietnam. Just in time for Ho Chi Minh's Tet Offensive. He was awarded the Bronze Star. Terry took advantage of his military-funded education, got a bachelor's and master's degree, retiring as a captain in the Air Force. Having safely returned to the United States, he met another Air Force captain, Los Angeles-born future wife Gail Yvonne Weishart. They settled down, had 2 boys in Bear Creek. He entered politics, serving a Bear Creek Township supervisor for 18 years. He wrote a book, Tough Decisions by Past Presidents, and Tough Decisions to be Made by You. His family says in that book he got some things right, like predicting the legalization of marijuana, and some things wrong, concerned about his son's future education. Well, they both went to West Point and MIT, respectively, so they did all right. Did a lot of stuff in Bear Creek. He said, build gyms now or build prisons later. In his twilight years, he became a Cheers-like norm at the 10 East End Center Red Lobster in Wilkes-Barre Township. The restaurant team affectionately referred to him as the Salmon Man because he always ate salmon. Became a grandfather figure to quite a few of the employees. And he was an actual grandfather to his son Troy's 2 sons. The family thanked the friendly Red Lobster crew. He joined his Heavenly Father on September 21st, survived by his former wife, Gail, sons Ty and Troy, grandchildren, brother, sisters, and other family members. The obit concludes, cheers to a long and happy life. Tyrone Terry Gabriel Gajewski, our veteran this hour, brought to you by John Basiliga and Serenity Care. Storm Tracker 16 forecast from meteorologist Joe Snedeker. Today, partly cloudy with a chance of a shower by evening, 75. Tonight, cloudy with showers likely, 55. Wednesday, partly sunny, breezy and cooler, 65. Thursday, sunny and cool, 58. It's 72 outside the studios right now. Neil Sedaka. Murph says this date, 1974, he released his hit, Laughing in the Rain. Bob Cordaro back with you on the eponymous program. Let's go to Joe in Berwick. He's been very patient with us. Joe, how are you?
Oh, hello, Bob. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you for calling.
So, two things I want to address. I think, number one, it'd be great if Donald Trump inserted himself into the California recovery effort and actually forced things to happen on the federal level to more show the people of that state what their politicians are like and what he's like.
Yeah.
And the second thing I want to comment on...
They don't even know what a politician is that could actually get things done. They don't know that. They have no experience with it.
No, they don't. I agree. The second thing I wanted to comment on, Bob, it has to do with what's being claimed is going on in Chicago and other places. Now, I will admit, unlike my progressive friends, I will admit that when I get my news feeds from, my social media, I'm getting obviously a biased opinion, and that my friends on social media are pretty much people who agree with me. But I thought about this, and I thought, well, if they're claiming this stuff is going on, and these people are acting like jackbooted thugs, wouldn't there be actual live footage of this that somebody could post? Because I'm not sure anybody's produced that. I mean, if they are, you don't mind me saying, by all means, call your program and let us know. But I don't believe there's any footage of this stuff they say the federal agents are doing. All the footage I'm aware of, which, like I said, I know I get from a biased source, all the footage I'm aware of shows these crowds basically agitating and attacking federal agents doing their job, not the other way around.
Here's the problem the people on the left and the people who support the current Democrat leadership have. They're wrong. There's no iffy. Well, I guess Brandon Johnson, J.B. Pritzker, you think about the sick, twisted leadership. Chuck Schumer, they're wrong about everything. There is no middle ground here. There's no room for compromise. There really isn't. You either pay an extra $1.5 trillion and of borrowed money, or you don't compromise with these fools in the Democrat Party.
Yeah.
So there's the problem.
I understand. We're in agreement that they're wrong, and I know all that. But I'm just saying that the claims being made about how the federal agents are going into these areas and what they're doing, that seems to me like that'd be pretty black and white. If they're doing what they're claiming they're doing, there ought to be photographic evidence of it. And I'm just challenging anyone to actually produce that.
To make the ignorance level of the people fighting Trump's policies, which are nothing but common sense, the lack of caring for the people they represent is off the charts. They don't care if people get murdered in their own cities, their own constituents. It's irrelevant to them. These people are just insane. It's like, how do you argue with the same people? And the people who are adherents are either not paying attention or they're fools. There's not much you can say. Oh, well, there's not another side to these arguments, and I'm not used to that. This is a relatively new development. It's
I
crazy.
Understand that, but if you didn't mind me putting that out there.
I don't mind at all.
True,
I look for something to say, well, you got a point there. I can't even find a good point. You even see when the trolls are sending in things to have me respond to, they'll make a point that is a non sequitur from what we're even discussing. Like it's just,
Yeah.
they're and to stay in that position makes zero sense.
No,
The only guy
I
not
agree,
doing it,
but,
by the way, Joe, the only guy not, even though he's voting left wing all the time, John Fetterman is the only guy that's calling them out when they're insane.
Yep, that's true. And I got to tell you, he proved himself wrong to me. He proved himself much better than what I thought he would be. I've got to admit that.
Well, I mean, that's not saying much, but at least he'll say something sensible every month or so. You know, crazy.
Yeah, and vote that way sometimes as well.
I haven't seen that. I
No,
really
he
have.
just
I've
voted
not
for
seen
the
it.
continue-
Yeah, the
the
CR.
continuing-
I pointed that
Yeah.
out, but it doesn't happen often, unfortunately.
Yeah.
All right, Joe.
All right. Well,
Appreciate
thank
it,
you,
my
Bob.
friend. Always a pleasure. We've got to take a break because the Bloomberg Money Minute's going to tell us what's happening. We've got phone calls I want to get to. But Cordaro Jewelers Watch says 10:50. I'll make sure I root. That's the song that Bulldog makes me sing to him every day that he came and gave without taking. Hey, I'm joined in the studio by an old friend but a political opponent forever by the name of Bob Casey, Scranton school director. And he brought to my attention, these people are crazy. And believe me, don't think it doesn't come to the local level. Wendy Wilson, all right, she was with Cartwright's office. She's a left-wing lunatic. I know her for a long time. I like her. But she's insane and just a lunatic when it comes to politics. So Rob Bresnahan shows up at a school director's party on Sunday, Scranton School Directors Party. And they're offended. And so now to tell you the coordination between lunatics, she makes a post, Wendy Wilson does. Holy guacamole, aren't we supposed to be dedicated to keeping MAGA influence from creeping into the Democrat Party? We're supposed to be Team Blue Revival. In other words, sick, twisted, left-wing lunacy. Now, Bob Casey, for all the times we have disagreed, is a normal Democrat. And that's rare to find as an elected official. So now the funny part, Wendy, whatever. She's Paige Cognetti's hit person. Mayor Paige Cognetti's hit person. She's the person who got hired last year to run the congressional campaign that Paige lies and says she just decided on in September. They're liars. All right. But she knows already what Chris Kelly's column is going to be tomorrow. Don't tell me the left-wing lunatics. It's all coordination. It's all fake. It's all phony. Bob, you've been a Democrat and a loyal Democrat forever. We were on the opposite sides all the time. How do you deal with this?
Well, Bob, I really don't know what's going on. And the reason is
what do you have to do? What do you have to do with Rob Bresnahan understanding that he should go to a political party?
Absolutely nothing. I was there to support Joe Brazil, Chiswick, Jenna, and Carol. And I was standing there, and I saw Bob Bresnahan and his lovely wife pull up. And this is what people don't understand. The picture that was
she's posting old pictures.
It was done 4 years ago. Bob Bresnahan wasn't a congressman.
Yeah.
I wasn't a school director. It was taken up at Shenanigans in the Poconos.
Yeah.
And
but for an ass like Wendy Wilson, this is a murderous offense.
Well, here's the thing. I mean,
my God, you were friendly with someone who was a businessman.
and both of us weren't in politics.
Yeah.
And Charlotte was on Channel 16 at the time.
Yeah.
And Chelsea, and I said, "Let's do a photo." She was kind enough. At the time, I was being treated for prostate cancer with radiation, and I lost my teeth. But now, all of a sudden, yesterday, I get a call from Chris Kelly, and he's basically saying that I'm the guy that invited Bob Bresnahan. I said, what? And
these people are sick.
Now,
unfortunately, and they're your party, Bob Casey.
Hey.
They're your political party.
Bob, and that's the amazing part about it, is I was there. He's now a congressman. I'm now a school director. I knew him from years gone by, and I didn't see any problem talking to him for a lot of times. Matter of fact, a lot of the time, I spoke to him how our federal funding was cut at the Scranton School District.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm there working for the people of the city of Scranton. Am I a Democrat? Yes. Am I a loyal Democrat? Yes. But in my role as a school director, I represent Democrats and Republicans.
Like me.
Like you. And my thing is, I believe that you should be able to talk to everybody. Did I invite them? Absolutely not. I mean, all I was there supporting my candidates, my school director candidates. And next thing I know, because I spoke to them, and did I speak to them in a long time? Yeah, we talked about a lot of issues.
Yeah.
And I believe that if you can't talk to the other side, you're never, ever, ever going to get anything done.
Yeah.
And do I agree with a lot of Rob's views? Absolutely not. You know how I am, Bob.
But apparently you didn't pass idiot Wendy Wilson's purity test and sick, mentally ill Chris Kelly's.
Well, here's the part that aggravates me. There were other independent candidates at this affair, but nobody attacked anybody for talking to them. I'm, according to that picture and that post that Wendy Wilson put up, who I understand is the press secretary
For Paige Cognetti.
is that I'm a farce. I'm not a Democrat. Well, I've been in Democratic Party for 45 years, and if Wendy Wilson ever walked in here, I wouldn't know her. She's a hired hand for Paige Cognetti. But more important is, I meet people 4 years ago. I have my picture taken with them. Now all of a sudden I'm anti-Democrat.
These are insane people in your party, Bob. These are insane people.
And Bob, the reason I'm here today is because they're calling me the fake Bob Casey. Well, I've been in Democratic Party for 45 years. I worked against a guy by the name of Bob Cordaro and Munchak. And you know that. You used to call me Garfield. We got to understand, these people aren't our enemies.
Yeah.
They're our opponents, but we're all there for the same reason.
Not for the lunatics.
And if we don't talk to each other, hey, and I'll tell you what, if Sunday happens that we're able to get federal funding for the Scranton School District, I'll take this criticism any day of the week.
Mm-hmm.
But more important is, I feel that they're trying to drive the Paige Cognetti group, the moderates, out of the party.
Yeah.
If you don't belong to her philosophy, and when Chris Kelly called me yesterday,
well, Bob, we got to go to news. We'll carry it over. We want to talk about this a little bit more, so hang in there. We're going to do the news. Bob Cordaro, WILK. We'll come back. Bob Casey, Scranton School Director, who is under assault from the left-wing lunatics, Wendy Wilson of the Paige Cognetti campaign, and, of course, Paige Cognetti hiding behind her, and Chris Kelly, the mentally ill columnist for the Scranton Times. We'll be back. great good morning, everyone. It is 11:14 and change on my Cordaro Jewelers watch here in the great Northeast. This beautiful Tuesday, October 7, 2025. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he, and it's a big day to fight for America, defend our values. And with the help of our man, John Basiliga, and his great company, Serenity Care, the gold standard of senior care in Northeast Pennsylvania, we honor the brave who have made us and kept us free. People like Tyrone, Terry, Gabriel, Gajewski, Katerina Kalinowski, Nanticoke, George Farrow, West Scranton, Dick Scholdice, Freeland, and Stephen Kondratik, Exeter. So with history, our great founding fathers, and the incomparable Constitution of the United States of America as our guides, let us continue today's battle. Gaveling to order this meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising you that we will provide a sanctuary of sanity where the leadership of an entire political party, and certainly in Scranton, has gone insane. So we need it. Bob Casey's with me, and I'm going to be joined shortly by Gene Barrett, candidate for mayor. So, Bob, Rob Bresnahan, it's almost hard to get straight. Rob Bresnahan, our congressman, finds out about an event for the Scranton school districts, which, by the way, they're running on both parties, number one. And he goes to the event. For some reason, because you had known he and her, lunatic Wendy Wilson and lunatic Paige Cognetti, and now insane person Chris Kelly, are attacking you because he showed up at an event in his congressional district. Do I have that right?
Pretty much, Bob. They showed up. I was shocked. Did I know them prior to being on the school board and him in Congress? Yeah, I had a picture taken with them up and I had a couple drinks with them up in Shenanigans at Lake Harmony. And
but that's a conspiracy.
Yeah. And now all of a sudden, what I don't understand is why am I getting criticized for something I didn't do? All I can think of is that Mayor Cognetti and her group don't think I'm the right type of Democrat. And as you know, Bob, I have a Democratic pedigree.
Yeah.
And I'll match my Democratic pedigree with hers.
Well, they have a lunatic pedigree. There's a difference.
But Bob, the bottom line is here, I did nothing wrong, and I'm getting accused of something. And more important is, instead of attacking me that I'm not a good Democrat and that I'm running on somebody else's name, which I haven't, why isn't she bringing out and coming out public instead of hiding in City Hall and talk about the problems that we have in the city of Scranton? And seeing that she's running for Congress, some of our national, part of the problem we have in the state and we have in the federal government is people aren't talking. And I'm talking. I explained about what we need in the Scranton School District, and I'm being criticized. And I know that you got to go, and I won't belabor this, but I came here today to tell the people I didn't invite them. I haven't seen him or her in 4 years.
But insane. Now, and Bob, sometimes I used to have a framed quote on my desk when I was county commissioner, and it said, beware of arguing with an insane person lest you be confused with one. And you're dealing with Wendy Wilson, insane. Paige Cognetti, insane left-wing lunatic. Chris Kelly, he doesn't even touch base with reality. It's scary stuff. So, wow, I feel for you. I truly do.
Bobby, the bottom line is I went there as a good Democrat.
Yeah.
And I supported my candidates. and now all of a sudden I'm being accused of a fake Democrat. Well, my question to you, Mayor Cognetti, when are you going to show up at one of our parties?
Mm-hmm.
I only met you once in my life.
And you're an elected Scranton school director.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, listen, I take it she's from Oregon and she has different views than we have. But the bottom line is, hopefully, Paige, we're both on the same page.
No, you're not. I promise you're not.
Well,
there's normal and there's loony
well,
left.
the bottom line is we should be.
Yeah,
And I'll
I
tell you
agree.
what, your next guest, Gene Barrett,
Mm-hmm.
he's a good Democrat who had to turn to independent. And I wholly endorse and ask all my friends to vote for Gene Barrett,
Mm-hmm.
especially after everything that I'm going through right now.
Amen. Amen. Bob Casey, thank you. And we're going to continue this discussion after Idiot writes his column tomorrow. But, quickly on that point. The picture you had that Wendy Wilson, all right, Paige Cognetti's hack, you only gave it to Chris Kelly. Next thing you know, Wendy Wilson has it.
Correct. And it wasn't on any Facebooks or anything like that. I forgot I even had it.
Wow. They're scary people.
That's part of the reason I came here today, Bob,
Yeah.
because I feel there's a conspiracy to run me out of the Democratic Party.
To run anybody who disagrees. And ladies and gentlemen, so you know, I don't bring up Scranton because I know we serve 13 counties here, unless it epitomizes what is going on nationally that is bad. And this is right down the plate of what I talk about. Bob Casey, thank you for stopping by, and we'll talk again on this subject because Chris Kelly will have his lunatic column tomorrow, and we'll deal with it.
Robert, I appreciate it. And someday you got to tell me how you started calling me Garfield.
And someday you got to vote for me. Bob Casey, Scranton School Director. We're going to take a break and be back. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. The Rolling Stones perform their hit Beast of Burden on TV Saturday Night Live. This date, 1978. And, of course, 2001, the war in Afghanistan starts. Not a very smart thing to do, unfortunately. Somebody says, tell Bob Casey to own it and be proud that Rob Bresnahan and Chelsea showed up. Let me say this. I know firsthand that he didn't invite Rob Bresnahan. I'm not even going to get into how I know that. I just know it. These people are insane. Somebody said, Bob, these people are out of their minds. That's why I'm voting for Gene Barrett, and I've been a conservative Democrat for 20 years. God bless you. We need normal Democrats. We need this party. We need this party. To be normal, we can't have this anymore. So speaking of normal Democrats, he is my candidate for mayor of Scranton, and I'm a Scrantonian. Gene Barrett. Gene, welcome to the Bob Cordaro Show. How are you?
Good morning, Bob. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
I'm in front of Charlie Jefferson's building here, the old Samters, where you could, the old soup place.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Right. But anyway, the new Black and Brass coffee shop on Lackawanna Avenue here. And Lackawanna Avenue kind of looks like, anybody listening remembers their history, kind of like Dresden after World War II.
Yeah.
But be that as it may,
well, thank God for the developers, and I'm going to tell, without mentioning any one of them, they've all told me they've done what they've done for the city of Scranton despite the mayor and her incompetence, not because of her, not with any help from her either. Crazy.
I've had those same conversations with the major developers in the Central Business District, and in some cases, impediments thrown in front of them, instead of trying to helping them through the process to get their investment done as quickly as possible and up and running. Just throwing impediments in front of them and slowing down, which as you know, costs a lot more money when you're trying to get a major project done. But let me just take this opportunity to your listeners to say who Gene Barrett is. Gene Barrett's someone that has over 40 years of experience in the public and private sectors. I've been from the public side, top positions in the Scranton Sewer Authority as chairman of the board, Scranton City Council 2 terms, 1 term as president. Lackawanna Solid Waste Advisory Committee. I was on the initial committee and on the second committee that just revised that whole plan for the county on waste disposal. In the private sector, I've owned multiple businesses, a former steam heat company. We built a hot and chill water plant that serviced every building down at the Steamtown National Storage Site. I owned Landsidle Steel Fabricators, which was a heavy plate steel fabrication company over by the Scranton Lace Works. And lastly, regional business development manager for Pennsylvania American Water. I spent over 7 years in the United States Army on active duty. Part of that time was in the Advanced Weapons Support Command in Germany, roughly 2.5 years as an NCO. Advanced Weapons Support Command relates to missiles, and that was a very meaningful experience that I had at that particular point in time. I also was a instructor at the Military Intelligence School in Fort Huachuca, Arizona, for captains and majors that are trying to climb the ladder and become lieutenant colonels, and so on as their career moves on. We had Army officers, we had Navy officers, we had Marine officers, and in some cases Israeli officers trying to better understand military intelligence matters within the United States Army. At the same time, right around that same time, when I was in active duty, I attended the NCO Drill Sergeant Leadership Academy in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, and was the distinguished graduate of that particular leadership school. So my education, I've took courses when I was in Germany at the Heidelberg University of Maryland campus in Heidelberg. King's College graduate, did graduate studies at Boston University, when I was on a special assignment up in that particular area of our country. I was still on active duty at that time. I've gone to graduate schools. I've done some advanced work at Harvard Graduate School of Design on real estate. The tremendous amount of public, private, military, and education. I don't think there's a candidate right now, including the current mayor, that can match that
No, she's
combination
not even close.
Of experience and qualifications.
Our mayor has job jumped every time she's going to get discovered for having done nothing. She
Yes.
leaps to the next job.
Yes, but with all due respect to my Republican candidate, she's hitting on all the right things as far as the criticism is concerned of the current administration. But at the same time, she's an office manager for a small construction firm here in Scranton, and really has no boards of commissions, no public office, no understanding of public finance, labor issues. The list goes on and on. Yes, is she hitting on all the right issues? But at this point in the Scranton's history, we can't afford to, on-the-job training.
Well, you can't afford to have 4 more. Well, now 5 years and an additional 4 if we unfortunately elect this mayor. It's a ghost ship. There's no leadership. There's a left-wing agenda, but that's it. We were just talking with Bobby Casey, the school director, and and he's telling me this story. He dropped by the studio quite unexpected, I might add, and it's we're talking about crazy people you're running against. We need you to save us.
Well, you have to look at the past several years of history with the current administration, the mayor in particular. The mayor had the president, Biden. She had Vice President Harris, senior United States Senator Casey, multi-year elected Congressman Cartwright, Democratic governor in residing in Harrisburg in the form of Governor Shapiro. And the only thing that Scranton got and received was money through COVID funding that every city across America got that same money. So could you imagine being in office and having all those connections at all the right places, all right? And she was not able to do anything at all with that advantage that we have.
Sad.
Years ago, when Joe McDade was second-ranking Republican on the Appropriations Committee in Harrisburg, his nickname was Joe Jobs, because when they sat down and they made those appropriations, Joe McDade made sure that Lackawanna County and Scranton in particular got more than their fair share. That has not happened.
In D.C., yeah. Well, Gene, I know you're campaigning hard. You've been everywhere. I was telling the audience I was at an event for you Friday, and all the right people that know how to work and campaign. But what I'm seeing on the other side, she's given this fake bullspit old boy network when she's rigging bids for things like the Kapouse Avenue splash pad. And that's only when she's not getting anything done. It's been a sad situation.
I'm running for one job. I'm not running for 2 jobs. And it's not fair to the voting public and the residents of Scranton, young and old alike, to run for 2 jobs at the same time. And that's what she's doing. Hopefully, the general public and the voting public in particular see through that. And she's been planning this thing for the last several years. It's obvious. They characterize me as part of the, Scranton's dark past, or reported from the Times that I'm a dinosaur. You know what? I've been here. I'm dedicated to Scranton. My family's here. I've invested millions of dollars over the years in businesses in the city of Scranton. Both of my children are here. My grandchildren are here. I'm dedicated to Scranton. All right. My father, orphaned at the time he was 10 years old, and truly a breaker boy at the Cayuga Breaker, which she wouldn't even know where that was in Scranton, when he was 12 years old.
Yeah.
So my grandfather on my mother's side, him and another working partner owned the Loreline Cab Company right next to the Loreline Station. Unfortunately, right towards the tail end of the Depression, they lost the business. My grandfather was a Pine Brooker. I am, solidly Scranton. I always have been, and I always will be, and that's what I care about. I don't care about anything. I'm not looking at what the next opportunity is for me from a political vantage point. I'm just dedicated to Scranton, and I want to do best for our city.
Well, Gene Barrett, one of the important things you touch on that people need to acknowledge, she's done a piss poor job as mayor when she wasn't running for another office. Her entire next year will be consumed with running for U.S. Congress. How's she going to perform as mayor? It literally nothing will happen. It'll get worse and worse and worse.
You understand the political geography of the 8th Congressional District.
Yep.
It's a large swath of property, multiple different towns, communities, different issues that each one of them have. You cannot do that. How can you concentrate on becoming and doing what's best for the city of Scranton while at the same time trying to totally concentrate on the 8th being elected a congresswoman for the 8th Congressional District?
Yep.
It just can't be done. No, you cannot divide your attention that way. And I don't care how she cuts it, you just can't do it. And that's a message to the people of the city of Scranton. Don't be fooled by this effort. Reelect me as mayor. And oh, by the way, if I'm going to run for Congress in 2026, and if elected, I'm going to say, well, see you guys later. It's been nice knowing you. Thank you very much, Mayor. All right, it doesn't work that way. Hopefully, the people see through this whole charade.
Well, Gene Barrett, you keep campaigning and save my city, would you please? I appreciate your making this effort. I truly do.
Thank you, Bob. Thanks for the time.
Gene Barrett, independent candidate for mayor. We're going to take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. We will return. Our Veterans Tribute this hour and every hour, this day and every day, brought to you by our friend and a true patriot, John Basiliga. And one of his great companies featured today is Serenity Care, a personal care community with 4 locations: Mid-Valley, Old Forge, Wyoming, Kingston. Dementia care units located in Mid-Valley and Kingston. All of these properties have been completely remodeled. They're brand spanking new. They're beautiful. They're clean. They're bright. It's a place you'd want to live or a loved one. Serenity Care. Clarence Dick Scholdice. He was 87 when we lost him October 1st. He was from Freeland. Born in East Side Borough. Member of the First Presbyterian Church in Whitehaven. Dick was a 1959 graduate of Weatherly High School and an honorably discharged Army veteran as a medic. He trained cadets at the West Point Academy under the command of General William Westmoreland. He loved spending time with his grandchildren and great-grandchildren, hunting, fishing, raising beagles. He gave great compliments, and he'll be remembered for a great sense of humor. Preceding him in death, in addition to his parents, was his first wife, Irene, the former Irene Gresh. He also tragically lost a granddaughter, Ciara, and a stepson, Jeffrey. Surviving are his wife of 39 years, the former Ida Owen, stepsons, stepdaughters, step-grandchildren, and step-great-grandchildren. Clarence Dick Scholdice. Stephen Kondratik. He died September 26th. He was 84. He was from Exeter. Born in Wilkes-Barre. He graduated from Coughlin High School and went on to enlist in the United States Army Reserves, serving us in that capacity for 8 years. He started his 36-year career in banking and then worked for another 10 years for the U.S. Post Office. In addition to his parents, he was tragically predeceased by his son, Stephen. Stephen Kondratik is survived by his beloved wife, Mary Beth, his children, his grandchildren, and many other family members. He was a member of St. Anthony of Padua Church of Corpus Christi Parish in Exeter. Stephen Kondratik, our great veterans this hour, brought to you by John Basiliga and Serenity Care, the personal care community, gold standard in Northeast PA. Storm Tracker 16 forecast from meteorologist Joe Snedeker. Today, partly cloudy with a chance of a shower by evening, 75 degrees. Tonight, cloudy with showers likely, 55. Wednesday, partly sunny, breezy, and cooler, 65. Thursday, sunny and cool, 58. Bob Cordaro back on the eponymous program. Good old Clint Eastwood. Dirty Harry. And back on October 7th, 1995, the Hootie and the Blowfish, Murph says, we're moving up the charts with their great hit, Let Her Cry. Let's go to Ron from Jessup. He's been patient with us. How are you, Ron?
Oh, Bob, okay.
Thank you for your patience. I appreciate it.
Well, I just have to mention something about Paige Cognet. I wanted to call in 3.5 weeks ago, but I'm very emotional, and I'm still brokenhearted over Charlie Kirk. So after that happened,
I've got my Charlie Kirk shirt on today, Ron. I've got it. It says Charlie Lives. Somebody gave it to me Saturday. I said, I'll wear it this week.
Okay. First, I called in about the Lackawanna Commissioner's race, but you've been mentioned that Cognetti. Did you ever see that I got to mention, a 34-year-old Donald Trump described a politician like her. Did you ever hear what he said about politicians?
No.
You could have, this is his exact words, and this pertains to her. You could have a big smile and no great brain and get elected to a high office. That includes mayor, Congress, or the president.
Yeah, it's the truth here.
Yeah. And then as for that Commissioner Gosselin, no, he doesn't smile. He's despicable with no great brain. Now, as for the commissioner, the only time I missed a vote was in 2003 in an off-year election. I've been voting since '76. I was undergoing chemotherapy, so I was pretty run into the ground. But I can't wait to vote.
Well, I'm a Chet Murley guy. I'm looking forward to having him on. I love Chet, the family. I mean,
so he's the Republican running, right?
Yes.
Along with Shermack.
Yes. Well, it's just one, and there's two Democrats running. One, Capolini, that is chosen. Yeah, he's running as an independent, but he's a left winger, and he's chosen by Billy Gaughan. And then Tom Welby, chosen by Marty Flynn. So I tell people, if you want to get done with this silly Democrat intra-party fight, vote for Chet Murley. And by the way, with two Democrats running, people always say, well, the Republicans don't have a chance. Well, Chet's got a chance, not only because of who he is, but because there's two Democrats who are going to split a lot of votes.
Good.
Very interesting.
So anyhow, from now to election day, you should mention 33%. Everybody should be pissed off. Now, did you grow up in this area?
Yes. Yes.
You drive through any town, you see how old houses that were built in maybe the 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s. The house I'm sitting at now was built in 1934. It was last assessed at $6,000 in 1967. Now, I talked to a couple seniors who bought an older house in the 70s and paid $7,000, $8,000. That's what it was assessed at. That's all. My new assessment is for $153,000, $40,000 for the 15,000 square feet I'm on, and then $110,000 for the house. So that's going to bring in a lot more revenue.
Ron, we got to go, my man, and my apologies. My Picardo Jeweler watch says it's 11:50 and change. Dire Straits. They released their self-titled debut album, Sultans of Swing. This date, 1978. It became my senior class prom theme. And everybody remembers the prom theme because of that. Somebody says if Cognetti wins the mayoral seat and gives it up in the future, how's the new mayor appointed? By council. If you remember, and I wish he had stayed as mayor, Wayne Evans was appointed in that fashion after Courtwright went to prison and had to resign. Somebody say, hey, Bob, whatever happened with California and the wildfires rebuild? Nothing. Nothing. The same, I'm telling you, when you're a left-wing lunatic, you're incompetent. 99% of the time, which is the problem we have in Scranton. And then they want to go higher office and do more damage. And their adherents are either getting something out of it, people like Wendy Wilson. They're either getting something out of it, which in her case is a salary, or they're insane. That's quite scary. Quite scary. Donald, I can't get to you, my man. We're out of time. Always short on time. Well, this day went differently than I thought, with Bob Casey, school director, is getting attacked for being normal by ridiculous Wendy Wilson and insane Chris Kelly and insane Mayor Cognetti. Wow. It's unbelievable. And they coordinate, believe me, they do. So we'll have probably a Chris Kelly column to tell you about, full of lies and deceit and general idiocy. And we'll do it for that. We'll give Bob a chance to defend himself against the goof. But I mean, it tells you, I am supporting a Democrat who's running as independent, Gene Barrett, and we have to support normal Democrats. We've got to get rid of this scourge of lunacy in that party. It's bad for the area. It's bad for the country. So we'll keep doing that fight. And let's make it happen. Voters got to vote. That's the key. That's the key. All right, guys. We've got to go because the Sue Henry Show is next. The Rob O'Donnell Show is after that. But for now, whether I like it or not, we got to gavel to a close this meeting of the Club for Common Sense. Telling you, God willing, I'll be with you tomorrow. But for now, adios.